Good morning, students, and once again, I, Sakshi Ganotra, welcome you to our class. But this time in my class, I won't be teaching you any normal topic. No, I am not here to teach you anything today. But yes, I am here as a tourist guide, we say. So I'll be guiding you how to go through the tour of your exam. So you all must be ready for your exam, right? And if I calculate the time, it's only 1 month left for your exam. But I won't be repeating that thing that it's only 1 month, only 1 month, only 1 month left. Nothing like that. Just be cool, just be relaxed. So as per you can see on the board today, I am standing here to discuss some 5 important questions that are really very important to be asked, and which are probable that they can be asked in NEET exam, right? But guys, I won't be directly jumping on to those 5 questions because yes, of course, it's not easy to pick up these 5 questions and say, yes, these are the questions that will be asked in exam. I am not the examiner, by the way, right? So first of all, I would try to guide you how you should be preparing for the exam and what are the important topics which definitely you should do. Like these are the topics which have been frequently asked in the previous year exam, and yes, most probably. So probability is never equal to 1, right? It's just a dicey situation. But according to me, these are those 5 different simple and important questions, or these are the category of questions which will be asked in the upcoming NEET exam. Okay, so but again, as per I told you, I won't be directly jumping onto the question. So listen to me now. For another 5 to 7 minutes, I will not be a strict teacher. I will just go with you people very normally, very slowly, as if I am your friend, and yes, as a guide at the same time. So guys, see, since only a month is left for the exam, so many of you will be very tired, because you have been studying a lot for the exam. And this 1 month which is left, this is the time when you actually have to concentrate on what is to be done and what not is to be done. For example, I'll tell you my experience when I have to give any exam, may it be any exam. So it's not that now I am grown up, I am a teacher and I cannot write the exams. So in case if I am preparing for exam and if I have to write an exam, then I'll be preparing for the exam very nicely throughout the year. And you people have been preparing for your exam since last 2 to 3 years, right? Maybe some of you started in 12th, some of you would have started in 11th, and nowadays students start from 9th and 10th onwards, right? So you people prepare for the exam thoroughly, very nicely throughout the year. But what happens when it's just 1 month left, 15 days left, 10 days left, and finally 5 days, 4 days, 3, 2, 1, just 1 day left, then you people will start getting some kind of nervousness in you. You will be like, oh, let the exam be over, and then I'll wake up early in the morning and I'll go for jogging, right? So next time when you start studying, another thought will pop up in your mind and you will be like, just this 3 more days, and then after these 3 more days, I'll go for shopping, I'll buy this, I'll buy that, right? So this is that particular time which is really very critical. Now it will be difficult for you people to concentrate on your exam because lots of things will be coming to your mind. So the first thing that you have to do for your exam preparation is to just relax and stop thinking again and again, only 1 month left. So I have seen students getting afraid by thinking only 1 month left, only 1 month left. Just be as cool as possible. Just think as if it's your birthday the next month, right? So just be relaxed, just be happy, and just prepare for the exam. That's it. Fine? So once you will be relaxed, you will be able, your productivity will be more. You will be able to do more of work in the given time. Okay, so this is the first thing, and I think even if you do not watch all the another 20-30 minutes that I'll be recording for you, just listen to this particular statement. Be relaxed. Do not take your exam as a burden. Okay, so that is one guidance that I wanted to give you people. Now for more guidance that I'll be giving you people regarding what is to be done for the exam, what not and all, I'll be recording a separate video. Let me not mix it up here. But today, since I had to discuss 5 important questions, so before I discuss this, again I'll tell you something else. Guys, see, if I am dividing the topic chemistry, so when I'm talking about NEET paper and I have to divide this topic chemistry, as usual I'll be dividing it in organic, inorganic and physical. Fine. Now, since you must be aware that there will be 45 questions from chemistry, so I have to divide these 45 questions from organic, physical and inorganic. Let me take this middle portion, which is physical chemistry. Since you people are writing the NEET exam, and this NEET guy, he is not gonna judge you on the basis of your mathematical skills. So we are not very much concerned about the mathematical skills. So this physical chemistry portion will be really less in paper compared to organic and inorganic. Okay, you'll get more of inorganic questions compared to organic questions, and then will come the stage of physical chemistry. This is a general trend that has been followed in last 5 years, and the same is expected for this year as well. Okay. Now, out of inorganic chemistry, out of organic chemistry and out of physical chemistry also, so I agree that you will be the best student if you prepare all the topics, but there are certain topics which are really very important. So really raised to the power infinity importance is held by these some subtopics. Okay. Let me first of all come on to inorganic chemistry. Now, in inorganic chemistry, there are a few chapters which are definitely very important, which you should be doing. Let me write one by one so that you people should get some idea. So, inorganic I'll tell you, organic I'll tell you, and physical I'll be telling you. So, for inorganic chemistry, the chemical bonding is the chapter which is of utmost important. You do or die, but this chemical bonding has to be done if you are going to go and write the NEET paper. This is a must to be done. And the same goes for P block elements. These two chapters in inorganic chemistry you have to do. For P block, I will ask you to read every day. So it's like your mom will be saying, na, wake up in the morning and go and do prayer. So now for 1 month, your prayer is P block elements. Every day you have to wake up, take a bath and then sit with your book and pray. And don't start praying Om Bhur Bhuva Swa and all. Don't do that now, because God will come if you do P block elements, right? So learn like, oh, P4 plus NaOH will give something, Cl2 plus NaOH will give something. So this is mandatory. If you will be good in the reactions of inorganic chemistry, my guarantee that you will be rocking the exam. Fine? So P block and chemical are such topics which you have to do. That's it. No arguments on this particular thing. Fine? So now I'll tell you two very important topics from organic chemistry. The first important topic from organic chemistry is, yes, the GOC. I have heard that many students are not comfortable with organic, but whether or not you are comfortable with organic, you have to do general organic chemistry. The very basic name reactions, the very basic intermediate, stability, carbocation, carbonyl, all these kinds of questions are very important for the this paper. Fine. So GOC is must. Okay. Now guys, see, since exam is all about gathering marks, you have to get marks. So I am being very clear, I am being very honest by saying that you need to get marks. Your knowledge is okay. I mean, I have heard people saying, exam mein marks nahi aaye to it's okay, matlab knowledge to honi chahiye. But guys, stop following this statement right now. Exam mein marks are really important, and yes, your knowledge is really important, right? So in this 1 month, you can't gather all the knowledge, but whatever you know, you need to gather marks out of that knowledge. Okay. So there are certain topics which are like tick and you'll get +4, tick, you get +4. And out of all that, there is this topic which is biomolecules. So although I should not have written this topic biomolecules in the very important chapter, but this I am writing because surely 2 questions will be there from the chapter biomolecules, or you can say polymer. Okay, and if you are getting +4, +4, +4, like +12 you are getting, it's like awesome thing. Okay, so make sure this is also one of the chapter which you have to, like you have to by heart so many things in this chapter. So please by heart, it's okay to by heart at times so that you can get +12. Okay, make sure this particular chapter is also done by you. Now moving on to our last category, which is physical chemistry. And in physical chemistry, the two really important chapter, one is from 11th class and the another is from class 12th. So from class 12th you need to do electrochemistry anyhow or the other. Very simple, very easy questions will be from the chapter electrochemistry. And another important topic is ionic and chemical equilibrium. So if my video is being watched by super intelligent students, then yes, of course these topics are not enough and you have to do everything. But if my video is being watched by those students who are like, array, I woke up today, what should I do for my exam? These are the topics you have to do for exam. Please don't go to the exam hall without doing these topics because they are really important for you. So they are not important for me, by the way. I am not from medical background and I am already done with my education, but they are important for you. Okay. So with all this basic information that I wanted to give you, now I think I should be coming on to those 5 important questions which can be asked in your exam. So once again, before I start with the questions, I am being very clear. These will not be the questions which will be coming in your exam. So I am not the examiner and I didn't call the examiner and say, yeah, give me 5 questions. No, I have to tell my students. No, I am not gonna do anything like that. But according to my experience, I found these 5 important questions and this is just a kind of trend. Like I have realized that these kind of questions have been asked in all the past 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, okay? And the same are expected to be asked in the upcoming year exam as well. Fine? So let us directly move on to our very first question. The first question that you can see on the board is the pH of 0.1 molar solution of the following salts increases in the order. See, this question is not tough. The question is from the topic ionic equilibrium. I told you, I had written here, right, that ionic equilibrium is really an important topic and you will be getting at least 2 questions in the paper. Maybe both of them are from ionic, maybe one is from ionic and one is from chemical. Fine. Now, out of ionic equilibrium, he will never ask you the questions which have got huge derivations or huge calculations. No. The questions will be straight away questions, the questions will be direct because you are not math students, you have not studied maths thoroughly. So, he will not be asking you difficult questions from the chapter ionic. But from the chapter ionic equilibrium, the questions related to titrations, the question related to salts and the question related to KSP and solubility. So these are the 3 topics from the ionic equilibrium which are like very famous and they will ask you questions from these topics. Okay. A similar question from the topic salts I am discussing here. The question says that you have to figure out the pH of 0.1 molar solution of the following salts. I am giving you salts. So the first 4, the 4 compounds which are given are, we have NaCl, we have ammonium chloride, we have NaCN and then we have HCl. So here in my video, I will not be teaching you the depth solution of these questions because your concepts should already be clear, but I'll just tell you how to pick up the correct answer out of the 4 options that is given, that are given to you. Okay? Look at the NaCl. You know, right, when you dissolve a tablespoon of salt, namak, in water, it's neutral, pH is 7, right? This is because NaCl is made up of NaOH and HCl. And you know that NaOH is a strong base, HCl is a strong acid, so they will neutralize each other and the pH of the final solution will be 7. Okay. Now, how to work for ammonium chloride? Ammonium chloride is made up of ammonium hydroxide plus HCl. Out of these two, ammonium hydroxide is a weak base and HCl is a strong acid. Yeah, someone is strong and someone is weak. Who will win the race? Genuinely strong. So, the overall solution will be acidic. But it will be weakly acidic. Not too much acidic because HCl is being neutralized by ammonium hydroxide. Right? Moving on further, let us see NaCN. NaCN is made up of NaOH and HCN, right? And out of this you can see that HCN is a weak acid and NaOH is a strong base. Strong, weak, who will win the race? Strong only. So this will be basic. Overall solution will be basic. Let us look at HCl. HCl is not a salt, it's just a very strong acid. Right? And now the question was to arrange them according to their pH. So genuinely the one which is a very, very strong acid will be having the smallest or the lowest value of pH. So now think out of all of them which is having low, HCl is having the last option. So either this can be correct or this can be correct. Right? Now don't try to match all of them. Now try to find the one which is basic because base will have the maximum pH. So basic is NaCN. So NaCN should be the one which is at the top. So this is ammonium chloride, no. NaCN, yes. Now you can check out this answer. NaCN, then pH 7, then weakly acidic, then strongly acidic. So option number B will be the correct option for this question. Okay. So once again, this question will not be coming in your exam. But yes, a similar question or the question with these concepts will be there in your exam. I can say it to be 99% sure. Fine. So this was the first question that I thought was important for you people. Now I will be moving on to the second question. Give me a minute. Let me clean the board by the time you also digest everything that I have taught you. And then you should be ready to see the second important question. So here is the second important question which is quite probable to be asked in exam. The question is, you have a phenyl ring C triple bond C CH3. In this you are adding Hg2 plus and H plus and a compound A is formed. You need to tell the correct structure of A. 1 or 2 lines for your preparation. For neat paper, again, no lengthy mechanisms will be asked. So there won't be any question in the paper which will have a lengthy mechanism. But yes, questions in the paper will be something like which involve the basic concepts which are clear to everyone. Those should be clear to the students who have joined a very good coaching institute and they have started. Okay. And that question can also be answered by the student who has not joined any coaching center, but yes, he is studying only and only NCERT. Or maybe the question can also be attempted by the students who don't know anything about chemistry, right? So the questions will not be very hard. Some basic conceptual questions will be there. And this chapter, hydrocarbons, you can say, which you have done in class 11th, or the general organic chemistry that you have done in class 11th, this particular chapter is really important for 1 or 2 questions. So you can expect at least 2 questions or 3 questions from these 2 chapters. Fine. The questions may be somehow related to the stability of carbocation, stability of carboanion. That means this intermediate. What is the intermediate that will be formed? How stable will the intermediate be? So that particular thing should be taken into consideration because this is an important topic and it will be asked in your exam. Moreover guys, as per my experience, in the chapter hydrocarbons, alkanes and alkenes are not that very famous in exam, but alkynes are sometimes, like they are given more priority compared to alkane and alkene. This is because, you know, when you start the chapter, you are very enthusiastic. So you do first part, second part. By the third part, you are like, it's a boring chapter, let's leave it. And that is the part which is asked in exam. So make sure do prepare alkynes. Okay. Let's do this question which is there on board. You have a phenyl ring, then you have C, then another carbon, and then there is a CH3. Okay. The first attack, now here he has just written Hg2+, he could have also written HgSO4. So don't get confused which compound he is taking. Okay. So what will happen? You know, right? So there will be a kind of complex that will be formed and a positive charge will be there onto the this particular 3-membered ring, right? And then when you are adding H+, so see here he has just given H+. Now don't be confused, ma'am, only H+. Here H+ is there in water. So make sure you assume by yourself that water is given in the mixture. Fine. Now since this particular thing is not stable, we will try to figure out the classical carbocation. If you would have heard about classical carbocation, then I'll say out of these two, that particular carbocation should be formed which will be more stable. So we can say a delta plus will be here, double bond C, CH3 and then Hg. If you people have not heard about the term classical carbocation, then you can simply say that Hg will be going to that particular carbon which is sterically less hindered. So see, phenyl is a bigger ring whereas CH3 is a smaller thing, right? It's a smaller molecule. So Hg will go to the site where carbon is attached to CH3. Fine. Now what will happen? Now water attack will turn. So this will come here. When water will attack there, it will lead to the formation of phenyl C, OH, then H with a positive, double bond C, Hg, CH3, right? After this, this H plus will go away, leading to the formation of PHCOH, double bond C, and see you are adding acidic medium, so Hg will be replaced by Hg will be replaced by H, and finally there will be ketoenol tautomerism leading to the formation of this compound. So see, the question was not tough, but the question actually involved the stability of carbocation. Then it involved simple attack by water, right? Then it involved another very basic thing which was ketoenol tautomerism. Okay, and all these things you generally study in GOC and hydrocarbon. Fine. So these kind of questions are quite expected to be asked in exam. Yes, questions will be there from aldehyde, ketones, carboxylic acid, amines and all that. But in case you don't have time to go to all those chapters, you should genuinely be going to GOC and hydrocarbon because 2 questions will be there in the exam. Fine? Okay. So this was our second most important question. Now having done this, I think I should be moving on to the third most important question for the NEET paper. Let me clean the board again. So the third important question from the paper, this is like you need to tell the number of lone pairs in XeOF4. As per you can see the question from inorganic chemistry, chemical bonding. Again, you might be lucky enough that the same question is asked in exam. But if not this, he can ask anything to tell the hybridization of xenon, to tell the number of bond pairs in the case of XeOF4. He can ask you XeO2F2, anything he can ask, but yes, the question will be from the chapter chemical bonding, somehow related to hybridization. So in the chapter chemical bonding. For sure you have to revise the hybridization concept, the bond angle, the bond length concept. These are, and as well as the number of lone pair, bond pair. So these are few things which are very common, and that every year they are asked in the exam. Okay. So let us do the question. XeO F4. How we do? First of all, we find the steric number, half number of valence electrons of central atom, 8, plus number of atoms attached by single bond. Oxygen gets attached by double bond, so 0. Fluorine gets attached by single bond, so 4. Now 8 plus 4 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So in case he would have asked you the hybridization, you could have said sp3d2. Fine. So the shape would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Square by pyramidal. But before I say anything, I will see how many bond pairs and lone pairs are there. So xenon has to form 4 bonds with fluorine and 1 with oxygen. So there will be a total of 5 bond pair and 1 lone pair. Okay. If he would have asked you the structure, you would have drawn something like this. So 1 lone pair is there, and this is the correct answer, option number B. Okay. So this is how one another concept will be clear by doing the chapter chemical bonding. From chemical bonding also you can expect 2 questions very normally. Fine. Good enough. Now I am assuming that you people will be doing this chapter chemical bonding also, so that you can get more of marks, which are for sure you will be getting. So these are sure short questions. Let's go on to the 4th question. The 4th question, as I told you, is from the chapter P block elements. Please do expect at least 2 to 3 questions from P block elements. Okay. Now many of the times the questions will be from either group number 17 or 18. But yes, you should be doing at least the whole P block. Let's look at what kind of questions will be asked. One of the questions that I'll discuss. Among the following oxoacids, the correct decreasing order of acidic strength. You remember the concept of Lewis acidity, which says that the ones which are electron deficient are the strongest acid, right? Try to figure out the oxidation state in case of HClO4. 1 plus x minus 8 is 0, x is equal to plus 7. That means chlorine is there with plus 7 oxidation state. Go for HClO3. 1 plus x minus 6 is 0, x is equal to plus 5. Okay. Go for HClO2. 1 plus x minus 4 is 0, x is equal to plus 3. And the last, let's go for HClO. 1 plus x minus 2 is 0, x is equal to plus 1. Right? So in the case of HClO4, chlorine will be having highest positive oxidation state. So highest electron deficiency. So highest or strongest Lewis acid. Look at the option. Here it is saying HOCl is maximum. No. Okay, okay, no. Now see HClO4, HClO3, HClO2 and then HClO. So option number C will be the correct option. By the way, there is this one line written that with more the number of oxygens, more stronger will be the oxo acid. This line is there in NCERT, and with this particular line, this straight away question is there. Okay. So make sure read each and every single line of NCERT from P block elements at least. Daily instead of Om Bhur Bhava Swaha, say HClO4, HClO3, HClO2, HClO. Please do that. Okay. And also you can expect one question on the basis of like comparing the acidic strength, basic strength, which will be answered on the basis of oxidation state. Fine. So this was again another good question. You can expect some question of this particular category. Fine. Now, if you have done the fourth question, let me now move on to the last question, the last important question. And this question, as per you can read, saturated solution of KNO3 is used to make salt bridge. I told you electrochemistry is an important topic. So he is saying that saturated KNO3 is used to make salt bridge. What is so special about saturated KNO3? Let's read. Velocity of K plus is greater than that of NO3 minus. Velocity of NO3 minus is greater than that of K plus. Velocities of both K plus and NO3 minus are nearly the same. KNO3 is highly soluble in water. In NCERT, there is a line written, I am sure, that salts like KCl, KNO3 and KCN are used for the salt bridge preparation. Do you know why? And there is a question mark. So those students who would have studied NCERT and they would have just ignored, okay, whatever, I don't care, they would not have done this question. But those who would have taken a little pain to go to your teacher and ask, what is the answer to why? This is the answer to why, that both the ions K plus and NO3 minus are actually having the same velocity. So see, you remember the functioning of salt bridge was something like cation K plus will be moving there, anion will be moving there. So if both of them will be moving with the same velocity, then there won't be any disturbance throughout the salt bridge. And this is the reason why a salt bridge will be made up of KNO3. The cation and anion should be having approximately the same speed. See, although electrochemistry is a topic which is having lots of I should say mathematical stuff, but again the question will be really simple. He will not be asking you a quantitative question, rather the question will be more or less qualitative. Like why in the Daniell cell this should be anode, this should be cathode. The electrons should flow from left to right or right to left. So all such basic things will be asked in the exam. Fine. So with this question guys, I think I have made my point very clear to you people, that although just 1 month is left, please do not go in depression that only 1 month is left. What to do? Every day you are having stomach ache or sometime headache or blah blah blah. Because I have seen students, they start falling ill just when 1 month is left in the, for the exam. So do not fall into that category. Be happy like, array, let's have something today, some good food today, and let's do the chapter electrochemistry. Next day you eat some another good food and do the chapter chemical bonding. Okay. So be happy, stay relaxed, chill out. It's just a simple exam for which you have been working hard so nicely. So don't let it go badly. Just enjoy the moment. Just enjoy everything. Take the feel of how nicely you will be preparing for exam. I am sure the day you write the exam, you will be like awesome. You'll get an awesome feeling. Okay. So with a positive attitude, let me wind up with the session. Hope I'll be meeting you once again with more tips and some more tricks how to solve the paper easily. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.